Welcome everybody to CTM Sports Live. I know it's a little late, but rock with me today. So today's episode, we're going to talk about Colorado against Nebraska, the needs that they got to feel, an unbiased review. Second one, why are people competing to scam Chase Bank, which the win is going to be in jail. And then our next one is VladTV, probably sick right now. Oh, that's the wrong button. VladTV, is he gonna have to change his business model? Let me know in the comments what you think. So with that being said,
hey, this is Mike Flair, and bingo, you're watching CTM Sports. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and continue watching. Bottom line, bingo.
all right, let's get right into it. Colorado still has needs to fill. If you watch the Nebraska game, the D-line, I've been talking about this at the beginning of the season. D-line and O-line, those are the most important positions in football. D-line, O-line. If you don't have those two solidified, it don't matter how many skilled players you have, you can't get them the ball. Or it don't matter how good your secondary is. If you can't get pressure to that quarterback, he'll pick that secondary apart because he got too much time to throw. So with that being said, when you watch the Nebraska team, once again, this is unbiased. I like Prime, but when things are needs to fit, you see those needs that need to be filled. You gotta be honest about it. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm trying to beat them up with a sledgehammer, but I'm just saying from an honest standpoint. When you first take on a college, it probably take you to about 3 to 5 years, really, if you start from ground zero as far as building a team, recruiting players, because it's hard to get players. Even with the transfer portal, it's still probably hard to get players to come to Boulder because people want to go to like Miami and Florida. They want to go to SEC, where most of the players that go pro go from the SEC. I think right now, as far as percentage wise. So it takes a lot to get players to come to Boulder. You really got to build that momentum, and then players like I want to jump on that train. So, but definitely they got to get some D line. They want to run 4 linemen. Nebraska was just about running 4 linemen and maybe blitzing one linebacker here and there, but they had some hogs on offensive and defensive line compared to Colorado. You can see the difference. The Big 12, I think they put out a decent amount of offensive linemen in the pros, like Texas. But I think Texas moved to SEC now. But like Oklahoma, they may have moved to SEC too. But a lot of those teams, even like say Nebraska, they always send D linemen, D tackles, and offensive linemen to the NFL. They may not get a bunch of coverage about it, but they do. And you saw the difference between the two, between Colorado, and you saw the difference between Nebraska. And when you look at the game, Shador was struggling the whole game because he kept getting sacked. Now, this is just my opinion. If I was the coach, unbiased opinion, if I was the offensive coordinator, or I was the head as offensive coordinator, what can we do to negate the pressure that they're sending to Shador? We don't have enough time to wait for a deep ball to develop. We have to throw intermediate route. We have to start running a route tree, whether it's curl routes, whether it's slant routes. Have a tight end run a hot route in case they blitz, run a hot route to the side they blitz on. It's a lot of things that you have to do to negate those things, but not everybody's willing to do those things. So, let me know in the comments what you think about that game. I think it really showed what they have to work on, the needs that they have to fill if they want to compete in the Big 12. Because Nebraska really has some, like say, when you look at their D line, dominant. I mean, them guys was huge, but they probably been there for some years. And when you can't run the ball, I don't care who you are, they're gonna pin their ears back and come. And then if you look at that Nebraska game, they had a running back that was 6'2", 220 pounds. That is a bell cow running back. Go back and look at it. 6'2", I think it was like 6'2", 220, 225. That is a bell cow running back. That's the kind of guy, even if you stop him at the line of scrimmage, he can fall forward for 2 or 3 yards just because of his height. You got to have that kind of running game. The times of having a 5'10", 5'9" running back, no. You got to have a running back that can bang between the tackles. And that's kind of how the game go. I think they said they only had like 16 carries for 25 yards or something like that. I think, off the top of my head, because I ain't got the stats in front of me, but they didn't run the ball. And if you're not going to run the ball, at least think about running a spread offense, whether it's single back 4 wide, shotgun 4 wide. If they even had the depth to do that, you're going to have to at least run spread to keep the defense kind of honest. And even then, they still going to send forward because you don't have that many people on the line. So that offensive coordinator going to have his hands full this season because a lot of teams, once they see this, they get hold to this on game film, they're going to try to emulate what Nebraska has done. You better believe it. It's just whether do they have the personnel to do it or not. But I still believe in Prime. I just think they just got some needs to fill, and I think they're going to do it. It's just the growing pain sometimes sucks, the growing process. And a lot of times when they get to winning, all this stuff will be forgotten because it'll all be about winning. But when you're losing like this, people going to take their shots at you, those little Fox Sport radio shows and all that stuff. They're going to take their shots. But shout out to Colorado. Shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to the Buffaloes, man. Y'all keep trucking, man. Watch that game film, man. I keep telling you, watch that game film. It'll change the game. Sometimes just having some knowledge about what you're up against will change the game. But you got to stay in that film room. Got to do it. You got to give up that free time that you deem free time and put that work in. So with that being said,
am I right?
Our next topic is people out here competing to scam Chase Bank. And I'm telling you, don't fall for that.
Am I right?
Because you're not going to win.
Blade, ready to die.
And you definitely not going to get the upper hand. So let me tell you something about this herd mentality stuff. A lot of times it's almost like a virus. One person do it, make a video about it, another person try to do it. But what you don't realize is when they come after you, people didn't learn from the PPP scam. They didn't learn from it. Some people just gonna do it. They just gonna do crazy stuff, but then cry about it when the law come in. You can't cry about it. You making these TikTok videos, and then when they come, you can't cry about you're a victim now. No. You victimize somebody taking money that's not yours. It's called wire fraud. It's not money glitch. It's called wire fraud. And what's gonna happen is you may feel like the money's coming, right? But what's gonna happen is when the feds come knocking at your door,
it's always business, never personal.
And they ask you what you was doing.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And you trying to come up with an excuse. Well, I need to pay my rent. I need to do this and that. They're not going to care about none of that. They're going to care about the decisions that was made. How'd you get to this point? And now you have to be accountable for what you did. It's not going to be any excuses that you can make They don't care about the sob stories. Matter of fact, they'll probably tell you, did you care about what you did when you was posting TikTok videos? One thing in this era that we live in is accountability. It seems like it's offensive to be accountable, which is the weirdest thing. Accountability is something that everybody gonna have to face. I hope that these people stop, because if you get to a certain point, it's a felony, and you probably gonna do jail time. I think if it's over 10,000, you probably gonna be doing jail time, and you're gonna get a felony. So I'm telling you, don't fall for the Chase fraud scam. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And what's gonna happen? I'm telling you, you're gonna end up. You're gonna be in the courtroom screaming.
I wanna be saved.
And ain't nobody gonna come to save you. Then they gonna hit you with that gavel.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And they start dropping that time. We gonna see people start getting convicted for this stuff and start dropping time. But you can't make no excuses. Oh man, I was eating Vienna sausage, man. I needed the money. Well, we're gonna put you in a place where you can get all the Vienna sausage you want, all the commissary you want. That stuff's not gonna work. They're gonna flush it. And they're gonna flush you for playing these games with these people money. But, hey, it's up to you. The choice is yours. So, thinking about that, some people ask this question: what's the difference between me and you? What's the difference between A and B? A lot of times it can be the decision making that can separate people. The decision to say, nope, I don't want no part in no scam. The decision to say, I'm not going to do that, and this don't make sense. The decision to say, I just don't want the legal trouble. I got enough trouble just as a regular person. I don't want to add that to my troubles. And then there's the decision to say, I got a chance to get over. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's not a glitch. You're getting over. People are depositing bad checks, and a lot of times banks now, they'll give you some of the check, may not all of it, but if you deposit a high enough amount, you say you deposit a $50,000 check, and they grant you with 15 to 20, and then you go take the 15 to 20 out, and then they tell you that check didn't go through, but now you down $15,000 to $20,000. A lot of people think bounce protection gonna cover that. But what's going to happen is if it's sitting there too long and now this scam is coming out, they're probably going to start auditing and doing an investigation. And because you made that decision or that choice, a lot of people realize that they don't want to admit to be accountable that you made a choice to do that. You have to be accountable for that choice, whether you want it or not. You decided to go down that road. Now, there's a toll at the end of the road that you're going to have to pay. That's for anybody. That's an unbiased way of looking at life. If you make a decision and go down the road, there is a price to pay. Either a good price or a bad price. But there will be a price to pay. You can't bypass the price. Remember that. If you don't remember nothing else I tell you, I'm telling you from experience, I had to learn both ways. Good price, bad price. It's depending on however you want to digest it. So with that being said, go to the next topic. Content competition, since we're talking about sports. Content competition. Is VladTV sick right now? Let me know in the comments, is he sick right now? Marlon Wayans, he reached out to Marlon Wayans to do an interview. Marlon Wayans shot him an offer, told him $40,000. And I think he said he wanted a percentage of the royalties or something like that, or the revenue share going forward. he said no, and he kind of mocked them in interviews with other people, trying to ask them about it, what they thought about it. And everybody he asked in the interview kind of like, yeah, they didn't really want to touch it. Here and there they probably did, but he shunned it and said he didn't see the value in paying that much for an interview. And what happened was he went on Uncle Club Shay Shay's show, podcast, or show interview, and I think it's over 1 million views, over 2 million views right now. He was saying that he didn't even think that he only got like 300,000 views or 200,000 views on the Breakfast Club. He didn't think that it would do those kind of numbers. And with that being said, does this make Vlad look bad right now? There's something to think about. Or let's go to the next topic. Is the content business model changing right before our eyes? Let me know in the comments. Is it changing right before our eyes? A lot of times, when you look at Vlad's model, I think this is what he said in a few videos. He would bring guests on, and the fact that he had a large audience, he would give them that exposure, and it probably still is run true to this day because he has millions of followers. And he probably pays some of them, but he's not paying people that much money. That's just not his business model. But the question is it starting to change? Are these YouTube channels are they gonna have to start paying these celebrities, especially for their life story, especially for them to interview them, because they're gonna keep running it over and over, and you're paying for this person's likeness, this person's intellectual property, I guess. I don't know how you call it, but they get paid to do movies and their faces on camera, but they're going to charge you as well. So is the content business model changing right before our eyes? Where it used to be for promotion, now they're starting to monetize. If you want me to be on your platform, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. So, is it changing? I know for me, I'm just a one-man show. I got a couple of my buddies. We do content. Make sure to check us out. Thinking Game Podcast, CTM Sports. We do like other stuff in between there, but those are mostly the main things. But let me know, do you think the content business model is starting to change? Do you think celebrities are going to start taxing these channels to be on their platform unless you got a relationship with them? But are they going to start charging to be on the platform? Because the economy's changing. People not having the money like they used to. And that's the next slide. When times change, but business models don't change. When you see business models that don't change, they're still rigid, kind of like with Blockbuster. They didn't want to change. They felt like the late fees was what was carrying them. They didn't want to invest in Netflix or Redbox. And that's what put them out of business, because they didn't want to adapt. So it's going to be interesting to see with VladTV and other stuff like him, channels like him, like Art of Dial, like all these other channels that do interviews. Are they going to adapt to change, or are they going to try to stay the same to where their business model is working for them? But sometimes times change, their business model will start to get outdated and it won't work. And you have a choice at this point. Do I adapt and make a new business model that works, or do I stay with what I have and just ride it until it sinks? You're starting to see a lot of Small businesses struggle because of times are changing. The economy is just not where it used to be, where people had all this money to spend. Same thing with podcast channels or even big businesses. You're starting to see them suffer as well because people are just not spending money like that. And even on content, people are just not watching everything random like they used to. Like say COVID, a lot of people was watching different channels they probably weren't used to watch because they was at home, it was COVID. But now that things are starting to go back to work, people are not watching those random channels as they used to. They are watching what they want to watch, and it's probably a particular thing based on your crowd or demographic. So with that being said, you got to learn how to adapt to the times. You got to learn how to have a business model that's flexible based on the time. Because if you're not flexible and you're not gonna bend, you're gonna break. A lot of times when you break, it's hard to recover from a break in business or a business model that's not flexible. So with that being said, let me know what you think. And also watch our content. We got Think Again Podcast on Thursdays at 6. CTM Sports on different days. That's what's going on. Also been doing different commentary. Let me know what you think about that. So with that being said, thanks for watching. This is Mike, and I'm signing out.